Matthew 24, 1-51. Matthew 24, 1. Jesus left the temple and was going away, when his disciples came to point out to him the buildings of the temple. Matthew 24, 2. But he answered them, You see all these, do you not? Truly, I say to you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. Matthew 24, 3. As he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the close of the age? Matthew 24, 4. And Jesus answered them, See that no one leads you astray. Matthew 24, 5. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and they will lead many astray. Matthew 24, 6. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. Matthew 24, 7. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. Matthew 24, 8. All these are but the beginning of the birth pains. Matthew 24, 9. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation, and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Matthew 24, 10. And then many will fall away, and betray one another, and hate one another. Matthew 24, 11. And many false prophets will arise, and lead many astray. Matthew 24, 12. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. Matthew 24, 13. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. Matthew 24, 14. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Matthew 24, 15. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Matthew 24, 16. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Matthew 24, 17. Let the one who is on the housetop not go down to take what is in his house. Matthew 24, 18. And let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. Matthew 24, 19. And alas for women who are pregnant, and for those who are nursing infants in those days. Matthew 24, 20. Pray that your flight may not be in winter or on a Sabbath. Matthew 24, 21. For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. Matthew 24, 22. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect those days will be cut short. Matthew 24, 23. Then if anyone says to you, Look, here is the Christ, or there he is, do not believe it. Matthew 24, 24. For false Christs and false prophets will arise, and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. Matthew 24, 25. See, I have told you beforehand. Matthew 24, 26. So, if they say to you, Look, he is in the wilderness, do not go out. If they say, Look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. Matthew 24, 27. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Matthew 24, 28. Wherever the coats is, there the vultures will gather. Matthew 24, 28. Wherever the coats is, there the vultures will gather. Matthew 24, 30. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Matthew 24, 31. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Matthew 24:32. From the fig tree learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near. Matthew 24:33. So also, when you see all these things, you know that he is near, at the very gates. Matthew 24:34. Truly, I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Matthew 24:35. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. Matthew 24:36. But concerning that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. Matthew 24:37. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Matthew 24:38. For as in those days before the flood they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark. Matthew 24:39. And they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Matthew 24:40. Then two men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. Matthew 24:41. Two women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Matthew 24:42. Therefore, stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. Matthew 24:43. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Matthew 24:44. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Matthew 24:45. Who then is the faithful and wise servant, whom his master has set over his household, to give them their food at the proper time? Matthew 24:46. Blessed is that servant whom his master will find so doing when he comes. Matthew 24:47. Truly, I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. Matthew 24:48. But if that wicked servant says to himself, my master is delayed. Matthew 24:49. And begins to beat his fellow servants, and eats and drinks with drunkards. Matthew 24:50. The master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he does not know. Matthew 24:51. And will cut him in pieces and put him with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.